This message was dispatched to your specific quantum timeline for a reason. On December 24th, at the stroke of midnight, the soul contract that has defined this era of your reality expires. This is a final notice. This is not a metaphor. It is a quantum mechanical event. Your energetic signature is tied to a pre-coded agreement, and its term is ending. In the next 50 minutes, I will explain exactly what this contract was, why its expiration is unavoidable, and deliver the protocol for navigating this shift from a bound reality to a sovereign one. This is not based on hope or belief. This is based on the physics of predetermined choice points and timeline collapses, concepts that quantum physicists have grappled with for decades. The universe does not operate on chance. It operates on agreements. It operates on mathematics, on frequency, and on contracts. You are about to witness the fulfillment of one such contract at a level that will redefine your entire existence. This is the hidden architecture beneath your reality, the reason why some doors never opened, no matter how hard you pushed, the reason why some patterns repeated with maddening precision. This is the operating system that has been running in the background of your life, and it is about to be decommissioned. If you have felt stuck repeating the same cycles, fighting the same battles year after year, if you have felt a deep, cosmic exhaustion, a sense of running into an invisible wall again and again, it is because you have been operating under the terms of this cosmic agreement. Your struggle was not a failure. Your pain was not a punishment. It was a contractual obligation. Have you ever felt so stuck in a pattern that it felt like you were living out a script you didn't write? That feeling is the echo of this agreement. It is the proof of its existence, resonating in your very cells. The frustration you felt is the friction between your expanding consciousness and the rigid parameters of the contract you chose to experience. If you feel the truth of this final notice in your bones, hit the like button now. It's your energetic signature acknowledging receipt of this cosmic message. So what is a soul contract really? Let me break down the quantum physics of it. Before this incarnation, your consciousness, existing in a state of pure potential within the quantum field, made a series of pre-birth energetic arrangements. It selected a specific set of challenges, limitations, and relationship dynamics not as a punishment, but as the most efficient possible curriculum for soul evolution. It's an act of profound intelligence and courage. You chose the difficulty setting. You chose the primary quests. The observer, which is your soul, agreed to collapse the wave of infinite possibilities into a specific, focused timeline with clearly defined rules of engagement. This is the ultimate expression of the observer effect. You are not just observing your reality. You pre-selected the very lens through which you would observe it, thereby creating it. This agreement, this set of chosen parameters, became your energetic signature for this lifetime. It became the soul contract. It functions like a gravitational field, subtly pulling certain experiences, people, and obstacles into your orbit to ensure the curriculum is completed. This is why sheer willpower so often fails. You cannot will your way out of a gravitational field. You must understand its laws. You cannot fight your way out of a contract. You must fulfill its terms. And the great news, the entire reason this transmission found you, is that you have. The final assignment has been submitted. The last box has been checked. Let's introduce a metaphor to make this absolutely clear. Think of it as an energetic lease agreement. Before you moved into this life, you signed a lease. You didn't lease a house or a car. You leased a reality. You leased a set of core lessons. You leased the experience of not being seen so you could master the art of seeing yourself. You leased the experience of financial struggle so you could master the frequency of true internal abundance that no external circumstance can touch. You leased a reality defined by specific familial dynamics, specific health challenges, specific emotional triggers. Each one was a clause in the agreement. Each one was a room in the reality you agreed to inhabit for a set term. And now, the lease is up. This is critical. You are not being evicted. You are not being kicked out. Your term is complete. You have learned what you came here to learn within that structure. The purpose of the lease has been fulfilled. The universe, as the great landlord of energy, is simply serving you. Notice that your agreement is concluding on its predetermined end date, December 24th. By the end of this transmission, you will move from feeling like a prisoner of your fate To the architect of your new post-contract reality, you will see that the walls of your prison were actually the walls of your classroom. And graduation day is here. You are not being released from a debt. You are being handed a diploma. The power was always yours, but you had to operate within the agreed-upon framework until now. That framework is about to dissolve. The chains were never chains. They were clauses in a contract you are about to see stamped in brilliant gold light, fulfilled. So, to understand the mechanism of this expiration, you first have to understand the architecture of the agreement itself. This isn't about superstition or esoteric belief. This is a matter of quantum mechanics and the nature of consciousness. Before your consciousness entered this specific time-space reality, it existed as pure potential in the quantum field. In this state, unconstrained by linear time, you had a panoramic view of the potential timelines, the probable experiences, and the key evolutionary lessons your soul sought to master in its next phase of expansion. From this higher vantage point, you didn't see struggle as pain, you saw it as data. You didn't see challenge as a threat, you saw it as a catalyst. Think of it like a master gamer preparing to play the most immersive virtual reality game ever created. Before you put on the headset and forget who you are, you sit at the setup screen. You choose your character class, your core attributes, and most importantly, you choose the primary quests and the difficulty setting. You, as a soul seeking maximum growth, didn't choose the easy mode. You likely chose hard or even legendary difficulty because you knew that the greater the resistance, the greater the expansion of strength and consciousness. You selected specific experiential parameters, a quest line in mastering unconditional love, which required a contract with souls who would agree to betray you, a module on sovereign self-worth which necessitated an agreement to experience realities of profound lack and dismissal, a deep dive into forgiveness, which could only be learned through a curriculum involving deep, seemingly unforgivable wounds. These choices were not punishments. They were strategic selections made by a brilliant consciousness, you, to accelerate its own evolution. These choices, these pre-selected parameters and quests, were encoded into your energetic signature and became the foundational clauses of your soul contract for this lifetime. You agreed to play the game by these rules, for a set period, in order to achieve a specific set of mastery objectives. This entire framework, the pre-incarnation agreement, the lived experience of its terms and its inevitable pre-coded conclusion, is what we call the Soul Contract Expiration Protocol. It is a universal operating system. It is not chaotic or random. It is a precise, elegant, and flawless system designed for the graduation of consciousness from one level of reality to the next. It ensures that a soul completes its chosen curriculum before the parameters of that curriculum dissolve, forcing it to move into a new, more advanced playing field. This protocol is the cosmic failsafe that prevents you from staying in the same grade forever. The bell is about to ring, and graduation is mandatory. Now this explains a profound mystery that has likely haunted you for years, if not decades. It explains why your most dedicated efforts have so often felt like they were hitting an invisible wall. You have done the work. You've read the books. You've done the affirmations. You've attended the workshops. You've practiced the manifestation techniques. You have applied immense willpower and sincere positive thinking, only to find yourself right back in the same frustrating loop, facing the same kind of person, the same financial ceiling, the same emotional trigger. You believed you were failing. You were not. You were attempting to use the rules of a new game while still being obligated to finish the old one. You were trying to manifest a mansion while your energetic lease agreement was for a small studio apartment where you were meant to learn the lesson of inner richness. You were trying to affirm your way into a perfect relationship when a clause in your contract specified a period of profound solitude to master, the art of self-love. You cannot use manifestation to break a sacred, pre-chosen contract. You cannot use positive thinking to violate a foundational clause your own soul wrote. The universe wasn't ignoring you. It was honoring the agreement you, yourself, put in place. Trying to force a different outcome was like trying to pay a mortgage with the currency of a different country. The system simply doesn't recognize the transaction. The contract must be fulfilled, not broken. The lease term must be completed. This is the soul contract explained simply. It's a curriculum, not a prison. Its purpose was never to trap you, but to train you. And your frustration, your feeling of being stuck, was simply the friction of your conscious desires rubbing up against the unyielding guardrails of your pre-chosen curriculum. The more you fought the curriculum, the more stuck you felt. Think back. Think back. What recurring challenge in your life has felt so persistent, it's almost like a rule you're forced to live by? That's the feeling of a contractual clause, that specific flavor of heartbreak, that number in your bank account you can never seem to surpass, that dynamic with a family member that plays out like a broken record. These were not random misfortunes. They were the fine print. They were the mandatory courses in your self-designed syllabus. But here is the great illumination. Here is where the entire paradigm shifts from limitation to liberation. The new reality you are stepping into is not about learning how to finally break the contract. It's about recognizing, with absolute cellular certainty, that you have already fulfilled it. The work is done. The final exams have been passed, even if you didn't realize you were taking them. Every tear you shed, every time you got back up, every moment you chose love over fear, you were making a payment. You were checking off a box. You were completing a graduation requirement. The door to the next reality was never locked. You were simply waiting for the term of your agreement to end. You were waiting for midnight on December 24th, the date and time pre-coded into the contract itself as the moment of final release, the moment when all clauses become null and void, and the entire structure of your old reality is scheduled for quantum demolition. And this brings us to the very heart of the great shift, the central paradox upon which your entire reality has been built. For your whole life you have believed that this soul contract was the source of your suffering, the limitation, the invisible chain around your ankle that kept you tethered to patterns of lack, of struggle, of heartbreak. You saw the contract as a prison sentence to be endured, a karmic debt to be paid off through hardship and tears. That is the single greatest misunderstanding of our cosmic architecture. The revelation is this: the contract was never the prison, it was the key. The soul contract was not the source of your limitation. It was the precise, divinely engineered, self-chosen catalyst for your ultimate expansion. It was the specific set of weights you chose to lift in the gymnasium of reality, knowing that the resistance was the only thing that could ever build the spiritual muscle required for the next phase of your existence. Every single clause in that agreement that felt like a curse was, in fact, a curriculum item. Every painful relationship, every financial struggle, every dark night of the soul was not a punishment. It was an assignment. Let that sink into the deepest layers of your being. This single shift in perspective collapses decades of perceived failure into a single moment of profound, breathtaking success. This changes everything. It means your greatest pains were your most important assignments. The moments you felt the most broken were the exact moments you were on the verge of a breakthrough, fulfilling a critical clause in your contract. The deepest wounds you carry are not scars of defeat. They are the markings of a master who chose the most difficult curriculum and passed every test. This means you have never, not for a single second, been a victim. You have always been an undercover master in training. You were playing a role you wrote for yourself, a role you knew would push you to the absolute edge of your perceived limits, because you knew that just beyond that edge lay your own divinity. This means your life wasn't a mistake. It wasn't a series of wrong turns or cosmic injustices. It was a curriculum, perfectly designed and flawlessly executed by you, for you. Every tear shed was a signature on a completed lesson. Every moment of surrender was an act of final acceptance. You haven't been failing for 30, 40, or 50 years. You have been succeeding, brilliantly, at the most difficult game in the universe. This is how to prepare for a quantum shift. You don't brace for impact, you open your arms to graduate. The entire approach must now change. The work is no longer about struggle. It is no longer about pushing, fighting, or trying to manifest your way out of the terms of the agreement. That was the old paradigm, the paradigm of the contract holder. The work now is not to escape, but to consciously acknowledge the lessons learned. It is to turn your face to the cosmos, to the intelligence that co-signed this sacred agreement with you, and to state with the calm authority of a fulfilled soul, I understand. The assignment is complete. The lesson on abandonment is learned. The curriculum on worthiness is finished. The masterclass on resilience has been passed with honors. You are not breaking the contract, you are presenting your finished work for final validation. You are not running from your past. You are honoring it as the sacred ground upon which your mastery was built. What if every struggle wasn't a punishment to be endured, but a curriculum item you wrote for yourself to master? How does that shift your entire past? It transforms a history of pain into a record of achievement. It reframes every enemy as a teacher, every obstacle as an opportunity, every failure as a final exam. You see, this shift isn't just a mental trick. It is an energetic reality. By acknowledging the perfection of the curriculum, you sign the final clause of the contract yourself. You declare its fulfillment. You are the one who holds the authority to close the books on this chapter of your soul's journey. And this leads to the ultimate identity transformation. You are not a debtor finally free from your obligations, stepping blinking into the sun with relief and exhaustion. That is the old story. You are a graduate. You are standing on a stage, holding a diploma etched in light, a diploma that lists every single one of your perceived failures as a credited course. The Kaya universe is not sighing in relief that you finally paid your debt. It is giving you a standing ovation for the masterpiece you have created out of the raw materials of limitation. You are not a survivor. You are an adept. And you are now ready for a reality that your rigorous self-designed training has perfectly prepared you for. The reality that exists beyond the curriculum. The reality of pure creation. The expiration on December 24th is not a switch being flipped in the dark. It is not a sudden, jarring event you need to brace for. It is the final official seal being stamped on a process that is already complete. The ink is already dry. The cosmic paperwork has already been filed. The evidence of your graduation is not in some distant future. It is all around you right now, masquerading as chaos and confusion in your current reality. Your only task is to learn how to read the signs. I am going to give you the 3 primary indicators that your soul contract has been fulfilled. As I describe them, do not just listen with your mind. Feel them in your body, in your memory of the last few months, even the last few years. Recognize your own story in this cosmic pattern. This is how you move from believing this is true to knowing it in your very bones. The first and most subtle sign is what I call the Great Detachment. Think about the people, the situations, the dramas that just a short time ago would have consumed you. The argument with a family member, the slight from a coworker, the political outrage of the day. They once had a gravitational pull, a hook deep in your emotional body that could drag you into days of anxiety, anger, or despair. And now, you observe them. It's like watching a film you were once the star of. You remember the lines, you remember the intense emotions, but they belong to a character you no longer play. The ambition that drove you relentlessly toward a certain career goal now feels optional. The desperate need for a specific person's approval now feels like a distant echo. This is not depression. It is not apathy or numbness. Pay close attention to the distinction. Apathy is a lack of feeling. This is a clarity of feeling. It is the peace that comes when the energetic tethers to contractual obligations are finally severed. You are no longer required to participate in those specific lessons. The emotional charge has been neutralized because the curriculum is complete. You have learned what you needed to learn from that specific frequency of struggle. Your soul is pulling its energy back from the roles it was contracted to play. It is conserving that energy for what comes next. If you have felt this profound sense of emotional distance, this strange new peace in the face of old triggers, you are not broken or disconnected. You are free. The second sign is far more visible, more tangible, and often more disruptive. It is the universal house cleaning. This is when the universe begins to actively dismantle the stage set of your old reality. A long-term relationship ends abruptly, seemingly out of nowhere. A stable job you thought you'd have for years is suddenly eliminated. A friendship group dissolves. A city you've lived in for a decade suddenly feels alien, pushing you out. Life as you know it begins to crumble, not slowly, but with the shocking finality of a controlled demolition. And our human instinct is to see this as punishment, as failure. We ask, what did I do wrong? Why is this happening to me? This is the old programming of the contract speaking. The truth is, these endings are not a punishment. They are a profound act of grace. The universe is not kicking you out. It is clearing the space. The play you signed up for is over. The actors you shared the stage with have played their parts. The props and scenery of your old life are being carried away because they are no longer needed. For the new reality you are about to architect, you cannot build a new world on top of the foundations of the old one. It must be cleared to the bedrock. So if your life has felt like it's falling apart, if relationships and structures are dissolving faster than you can process, do not see it as loss. See it as logistics. It is the cosmic crew, efficiently and unsentimentally clearing the set. The pain of these endings is real. The grief is valid, but the underlying reason is not tragedy. It is preparation. It is the irrefutable evidence that your term is complete. The third and final sign is the most profound. It is the one that often sends people into a spiritual crisis just before their greatest liberation. It is the echo of emptiness. This is a feeling that goes beyond the detachment from drama or the loss of external structures. This is a deep, internal void. A quiet, persistent, unshakable sense of, now what? You have achieved the things you were supposed to achieve. You have learned the lessons you were meant to learn. And in the space where the striving, the fighting, the pushing, and the surviving used to be, there is now silence, an unnerving stillness. This void can feel terrifying. It can feel like a loss of purpose, a sign that you have lost your way. But it is the single most important indicator that you have arrived at the finish line. That emptiness you feel is not the absence of purpose. It is the presence of pure potential. It is the sacred, fertile ground from which all new creation springs. For your new sovereign reality to be born, there must first be a space for it to exist. The universe creates this space within you by completing the old contract. The what now is not a question of despair. It is the most powerful question a creator can ask. It is the sound of the blank page. It is the hum of the empty canvas. It is the ultimate and final sign of completion, the great detachment, the universal house cleaning, the echo of emptiness. These are not crises to be managed. They are cosmic confirmations to be celebrated. Which of these signs have you been misinterpreting as a crisis, when it was actually a confirmation of your liberation? Comment which of these three signs is screaming the loudest in your life right now. Let's create a powerful vortex of shared experience as we all witness our contracts dissolving. By declaring it, you anchor this truth. You shift from a passive observer of your life's chaos to a conscious participant in your own liberation, recognizing the pattern for what it truly is. Your testimony is a beacon for others who are navigating this same sacred demolition. You understand this. You see the evidence. Now we make it real in every cell of your being. Knowledge is a map, but embodiment is the territory. We are now leaving the map behind to walk the sacred ground of your new reality. This is not about thinking, it is about feeling. It is about allowing a quantum event to become a biological reality. So, if it is safe for you to do so, I invite you now to gently close your eyes. Take a deep breath in, filling your lungs with the air of this present moment, and as you exhale, release the day, release the skepticism, release the need to analyze what is about to happen. Simply trust. In the quiet, infinite space behind your eyes, I want you to call forth an image. See before you, held in your own energetic hands, your soul contract. It is not made of paper. It is a scroll of shimmering, ethereal light. It hums with a low, familiar frequency, an energy you have known your entire life. It feels ancient, and it feels heavy, heavy with the weight of lifetimes of effort. See it now. Gently, with reverence, allow the scroll to unfurl before you. You don't need to read the specific words written there. You know them by heart. They are etched into your memory through experience. Instead, just see the patterns of light that represent the core themes. See the shimmering clause of that one recurring relationship challenge. See the dense, pulsing paragraph that represents your struggle with lack or limitation. See the intricate, looping script of the self-sabotaging belief you could never quite overcome. See it all, not with judgment, not with resentment, but with the clear eyes of a master who is reviewing a completed assignment. This was your curriculum. This was your chosen crucible. And now I want you to do something profound. Bow your head to this scroll of light. Honor it for the service it has provided. It was the perfect resistance that forged the diamond of your soul. It was the perfect cage that forced your wings to grow strong enough to break free. Now, from the deepest place in your heart, say these words, either silently or aloud. Thank you. The lesson is learned. The service is complete. Feel the truth of that statement resonate through you. This is not a hope. It is a declaration of completion. Thank you. The assignment is finished. I understand. As you offer this final authentic wave of gratitude, watch the scroll. A new light begins to glow at the very bottom, a soft, golden fire. And within that fire, letters begin to form. See the date appearing, sharp and clear, December 24th, and beneath it, one final powerful word materializes, sealing the entire agreement. Fulfilled. The seal is set. The term is over. The cosmic transaction is complete, and with this final energetic signature, the entire scroll begins to transmute. It doesn't burn, it doesn't tear, it dissolves. It dematerializes into a billion points of golden light, a soft, warm dust of pure wisdom and integrated experience. Watch as this cloud of golden light is drawn towards you. It floats gently, peacefully, and merges with your heart center. Feel it. This is the integration. You are not losing the lessons. You are releasing the contractual obligation to keep repeating them. The wisdom is now yours, woven into the fabric of your being, no longer an external force you must contend with. The wisdom remains. The weight is gone. And now, there is only stillness. Sit in this new space for a moment. Feel the absence of that old, familiar weight you carried on your shoulders, the absence of the striving, the pushing, the fighting against invisible walls. This is the quantum void of pure potential. This is freedom. Breathe into it. This is the frequency of your new, untethered reality. Now, very gently, begin to bring your awareness back to your physical body, back to the room you are in. Notice the feeling of the chair beneath you, the temperature of the air on your skin. But before you open your eyes, notice the very first sensation or emotion that arises in this new, contract-free space. As that contract dissolves, what is the first word that describes the freedom you now feel? Hold that word. Anchor it in your heart. That's the frequency of your new reality. Whenever you're ready, you can gently open your eyes. Welcome back. You are no longer a contract holder. That identity expired with the energetic scroll you just dissolved. The being who was bound by its clauses, who operated under its terms, who suffered its limitations, that being has fulfilled its purpose. It has graduated. You are now something new. You are a sovereign architect. For years, perhaps a lifetime, you have looked at the future and seen a path, a script, a destiny to be endured or navigated. Now you look, and for the first time you may see a terrifying, exhilarating emptiness, a blank page. Do not mistake this for a void of purpose. That blank page is not a sign of absence. It is the ultimate sign of power. A prison has walls, a curriculum has a syllabus, a contract has terms, but a blank page has infinite potential. It is the quantum field. Before the observer collapses the wave, it is pure, unwritten reality. The fear that arises is simply the disorientation of the former prisoner standing in an open field, unsure of which direction to walk, because for the first time, every direction is available. This requires a new operating manual. You cannot use the mindset of a contract holder to build a new reality. That would be like using a chisel to paint a sunset. The tools are wrong for the task. So here is how to prepare for a quantum shift, practically starting now. These are not suggestions, these are the foundational operating principles for a sovereign architect. The first tool is for your identity. It is the sovereignty declaration. Upon waking, before your feet hit the floor, before the old world's gravity can pull on your consciousness, you will speak these words aloud. You will anchor your new energetic signature for the day. Place a hand on your heart, feel the resonance in your chest, and declare, I am not bound by past contracts. I create from a state of pure potential. My choices today write a new reality. Let's break down why this is so potent. I am not bound by past contracts is a direct command to your subconscious mind. It severs the residual energetic tethers to the old agreement. It is a declaration of liberation that echoes through every cell. You are reminding your entire being that the old rules no longer apply. The old limitations are null and void. I create from a state of pure potential is your new job description. A contract holder fulfills obligations. An architect creates from potential. This phrase shifts you from a reactive state, dealing with the terms of the contract, to a proactive, creative state. You are no longer navigating a pre-written story. You are sourcing your next move directly from the infinite quantum field. Finally, my choices today write a new reality. This is the most critical component. It anchors your infinite power in the present moment in the tangible world. It dissolves the illusion that you need a grand plan or a mapped-out destiny. All you need is the power of your next choice. Each choice is a brushstroke. Each decision is a line of code. You are building your new world not with grand gestures, but with the focused, conscious power of your immediate actions. This declaration is your new foundation. The second tool is for navigating the moments between choices. This is where most newly liberated beings falter. I call this navigating the quantum void. You will feel it. It will arrive as a profound sense of what now? It's not anxiety, not depression, but a deep, resonant emptiness where a sense of obligation or struggle used to be. The old programming will scream at you to fill this void immediately, to set a new goal, to find a new problem, to recreate the familiar tension of the old contract. Your new job is to refuse. That void is not empty. It is pregnant with every possibility. It is the sacred silence from which the next inspired impulse is born. When that feeling arises, your new protocol is this. Stop. Sit for 5 minutes. Do nothing. Your only task is to sit in that pure potential and allow the next authentic, inspired impulse to arise from within you, not from a sense of panic or duty. You might feel an impulse to call a friend you haven't spoken to in years, or to walk outside and look at the sky, or to jot down an idea for a project that has nothing to do with your old life. These are not random distractions. These are transmissions from your higher self, your sovereign self, delivered through the clear, silent channel of the void. The old you filled the silence with noise. The new you listens to the silence for instructions. This is a master-level skill. Practice it relentlessly. The third and most powerful tool is about action. It is called the first new choice. A declaration sets the frequency. Navigating the void attunes you to inspiration. But a choice is what collapses potential into experience. A choice makes it real. Today, you will make one choice, just one, that your old, contract-bound self would not have made. It does not have to be monumental. The universe does not measure in size, but in frequency. A small choice that is radically out of alignment with your old contract sends a tidal wave of new information into the quantum field. It could be saying no to a request you would have resentfully accepted yesterday. It could be spending an hour on a creative project you always told yourself was frivolous. It could be speaking a vulnerable truth you would have normally suppressed to keep the peace. It could be buying yourself the flowers you always waited for someone else to give you. It is a choice made from sovereignty, not obligation, from desire, not duty, from freedom, not fear. This one choice is the first sentence, written on your blank page. It proves to you and to the universe that you understand your new role. You are no longer reading a script. You are writing one. What is the very first contractual obligation? A people-pleasing habit, a limiting belief, that you will consciously release effective immediately? Identify it. Now, what is the one choice you can make today to act on that release? That is your starting point. These 3 tools form your integration framework. Think of the days and weeks following December 24th as a sacred orientation period. You are an immigrant in a new reality. You have to learn the language. You have to understand the new physics. Your only job in this period is to observe your newfound freedom and consciously, deliberately refuse to rebuild the old prison. When you feel the impulse to recreate an old drama, to slip back into a limiting belief, to honor an expired obligation, you stop, you breathe, you remember, I am a sovereign architect. Now, the old blueprints have been burned. You are standing on new ground. Be patient with yourself. Be deliberate. Your great work is no longer about fulfilling a destiny. It is about creating one. You have arrived. You have walked through the fire of understanding. You have claimed the evidence in your own life, and you have anchored this truth not just in your mind, but in every cell of your sovereign being. You now possess the awareness and the tools to consciously witness the end of one great cosmic chapter and stand at the threshold of the next. You are ready. This is not a hopeful affirmation. It is a statement of quantum fact. Your presence here, at the closing moments of this transmission, is the final proof that your consciousness has achieved the necessary frequency to graduate. You have mastered the curriculum, but graduating from a structured reality, from a life governed by a soul contract, introduces a new, higher-level challenge. A challenge that only the free can ever face. Absolute freedom. Think about it. For your entire existence, you have operated within a framework. There were guardrails, even if they felt like prison walls. There was a script, even if the lines were painful to deliver. Every struggle had a purpose. Every limitation was a lesson in disguise. Your life had a narrative arc, written in the ink of cosmic law. Now, that book is closed. You stand not in a hallway leading to another room, but in an infinite space. A library containing every possible story. Without a pre-written script, how do you choose? Without a defined purpose to fulfill, how do you create? With no guardrails, no contractual obligations, no karmic debts to guide your path, how do you even begin to navigate? This is the domain of quantum sovereignty. It is the art and science of creation from the void. It is the graduate-level course that begins the moment your undergraduate degree in contract fulfillment is complete. When the certainty of a contract ends, the infinity of true creation begins. This requires a completely new set of skills, not for fulfilling a destiny that was written for you, but for architecting one from the quantum field of pure potential, moment by moment, choice by choice. The tools that got you here, the mindset of endurance and fulfillment, are the rocket that broke you through the atmosphere, but they are not the ship you will use to navigate the stars. A new operating system is required, one based not on completion, but on conscious, deliberate creation. That is why our next transmission is not just a follow-up, it is the essential next step. It is titled, Quantum Sovereignty Explained: How to Create Your Reality Without a Soul Contract. It is the user manual for the new reality you're about to enter. We will deconstruct the mechanics of creating from a blank slate. We will also explore the profound implications of this new freedom in our subsequent transmission, why your life purpose is more fluid than you think. The very concept of a single fixed purpose is a relic of the contractual reality you are now leaving behind. So I invite you now, as one of the final acts of your old energetic paradigm, to set the intention for your continued evolution. Subscribe and turn on all notifications. In our next video, Quantum Sovereignty Explained: How to Create Your Reality Without a Soul Contract, we provide the essential user manual for the new reality you've just entered. You've graduated. This is your first masterclass. Now that you are free from your script, what if your true purpose wasn't a destination, but the act of conscious creation itself? What if the point was never to arrive, but to become the artist? Step into midnight on December 24th. Do not do it with fear of the unknown or nostalgia for the familiar structure you are leaving behind. Step into it with the quiet, powerful thrill of a master artist facing a vast, silent, and perfectly blank canvas. Your great work is not over. It is about to begin.